Hello, and thank you for watching this video on recovering a locked out EBS-backed Windows instance. To start, here's our locked Windows instance, and this is what we're trying to recover our password from. And to do that, we're going to use a Ubuntu instance because it can read NTFS files. And here I'm selecting the AMI that is good for US West 2. And I'm now searching for that AMI. There we go. I'm going to launch the instance. And I want to make sure that it's in the same availability zone as the instance I'm trying to unlock, because the volume that I'm going to be detaching needs to be in the same availability zone as my instance. So I'm going to just put a label in there, or a tag. And for this demo, I'm going to assume that my key is gone or missing, so I'm obviously going to create a new one. And you'll see how this is used later in the process as my new key to get in. So let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to open up the folder, do a copy, and I'm going to paste it along with my other keys. I'm going to create a new security group. This is more to demonstrate the process. And port 22 so I can SSH in and continue and launch and close. Okay, so we're going to wait for that to start, and while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and stop this instance. We're going to need to stop before we detach. So we'll right click and we'll hit stop. Yes. And sometimes hitting the refresh button that can help us get our results a little faster. Okay, and now we have our Debian instance running. So we're going to go ahead and detach our volume from our Windows instance. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and refresh again. And now it shows available. So let's go ahead and right click and attach volume. And this time to our unlock our Ubuntu volume. And kind of highlighting how it needs to be attached, which is XBDF. Inside the instance, yeah, you're going to need to address it as XBDF. So we're going to go ahead and load our key. I'm sorry, we're going to generate our PPK file. So we went ahead and open that. Save the private half the key, or our PPK file, I should say. And rename this, or rename the extension. There we go. And this is what we're going to use for our putty. Copy. Paste. Put in our session name. And put in our PPK file that we just created. And put in user Ubuntu. And let's save the session. Open. And we're in. So now we're going to sudo up. Yep. There we go. Get our directory in TFS1. That way we have our mount point. And let's go ahead and mount our volume. XVDF1 to where our mount point is, which is going to be in TFS1. Let's go ahead and CD. And now we're into the Windows root volume. So let's go ahead and go into Program Files. Oh, oops, if I capitalize. Let's try that again. And F, capital F. There we go. And we're going to CD. I've got my notes here for a second. Capitalize again. And into the etc2 config service. Settings. Now let's use Nano. Normally I use VI, but a lot of people find Nano easier to use. Grab the config XML, and we're going to go down to where it says EC2 password, and we're going to enable that. And what this will do is allow our new key to take effect when we launch a replacement instance. So we've changed our Windows root volume, and then we're going to reattach the volume, the root volume, back to Windows. And I guess we're getting ahead of myself here. Okay, so we got that in. Now we're going to unmount the volume. First we're going to get out of the directory first, then unmount. And it's important to get out of the directory, otherwise it might hang up. So we're going to go ahead and unmount. There. And now we no longer really need this instance. Yep. And we no longer need it, so we're just going to terminate it. Oops, we detach first. Let's go ahead and refresh. There it is. Let's detach. Sometimes you got to refresh to get the right one that you need. Let's hit refresh again. There we go. Now it's available. So now we're going to reattach it to our Windows instance. There we go. And we want to change the device how it's connected to dev/SDA1. Okay, good. Now let's go back to instances. And okay, let's terminate this now. We don't need that no more. And now let's go and do a create image. There we go. Now, this is how we're going to launch our replacement instance. And just for fun, we'll call it soon to be recovered. Let's copy that over. You can call this whatever you like, but I'm just doing it for this demo. Close. Go to snapshots, make sure it's being created. Go back to AMIs, available. Okay, so let's go ahead and now use this to launch an instance. Go ahead and put in the 2A that we had before. I'm going to go ahead and make this a large. Let's continue. Put in our recovered tag, our value. And go ahead and create a new key pair that this instance we use, since we're pretending that we don't have access to the other one. And I'm going to save it. Copy it. And again, put it into my key folder. Minimize that for now. And choose a security group that we want our recovery instance or a replacement instance. And launch. Okay, so now we're starting up. Now keep in mind that since we made an AMI and used that, we basically have the same instance, and now I'm just going to reattach the elastic IP. So for all intents and purposes, this is simply a full and complete replacement instance. Now that I've attached the elastic IP, it should, if this were sitting on the outside, it should be fine. So now I can get a system log, and as soon as I get the message Windows is ready to use, I'm ready to connect to it. And let's take our brand new key, the one that we have the private half of the key, and we're going to use that to attain the new administrator password for this Windows instance. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to right click and get Windows password, and I'm going to paste my key into there, my new one that I have, my private half. There we go. And now I have my administrator password for this replacement instance that has all of my data and everything from my last instance. So close that. And open up RDP. Put in the elastic IP. Or you could use the public DNS if you wanted to as well. Grab that. I'll get the, okay. I'll grab the elastic IP, so copy. Paste. And options, put in administrator. Administrator. Put in our password. Just going to use a Control V. Copy and paste doesn't seem to work, but a copy and Control V, that does work. And we have now regained access to all the data and everything that old instance was in our replacement instance. So now we've recovered our data and the instance by changing the password. And I hope this process is